I think one of the important things to know about the original mall is that it was built on one of the last remaining tracts of farmland. And at that time, Mount Prospect was still very much considered a rural area, a country town, and obviously population growth was exploding after the Second World War and the Korean War. So it was kind of very wide open, a lot of undeveloped land, and kind of to the shock of many people, it was announced that they were going to build this massive 1 million square foot center as a joint project of Carson's, Weebolt's, and Montgomery Ward. The original center was called the Big Pinwheel on the Prairie. It had kind of this unique triangular design, which was very much touted as a kind of futuristic feature of the center. It was capped off in the middle by a 200-ton sprayed concrete dome. The triangle effect was kind of visually appealing, and it was also sold as an element of practicality that this way it would minimize walking distance between the three tenants and the smaller stores and offices. The barn burning ceremony was in November of 1960, and the idea was they wanted to replace a traditional groundbreaking ceremony. They decided they could kind of make this spectacular photo op and a very dramatic photo op, and in a lot of ways it was kind of telling people what the future was going to be like with the image of this huge old barn burning. Kind of these areas were no longer going to be considered farm country. They were going to be the massive suburbs we know them as today. Celebrity appearances were very big at Randhurst. Robert F. Kennedy visited in 1966, which was one of his last trips to Chicago, and you can see kind of the importance that Randhurst held as kind of a gathering space for people. Gruen hoped by building these shopping centers, large shopping centers in centralized areas, have all the retail in one environment, and by virtue of that retail being there, you would have things like public art in the centers, you would have things like plantings and fountains, important public spaces, and so Randhurst was meant to be definitely a community gathering space. When it was announced that Randhurst was going to be demolished and redeveloped, most of the people were sad to see it go, even if they knew it had to go. It was kind of roundly known both in Mount Prospect and in the area that Randhurst was a quote-unquote dead mall. I am standing about the site of Randhurst's original 200-ton dome. In the background here, we have what is now Carson Peary Scott. Originally, this was the location of Weebolt's, and it is one of the last remaining original parts of Randhurst's structure. You can kind of see behind me that it's obviously taken on a very different character from the enclosed indoor mall circa 1962. Behind me, you'd be able to see some of the new features of Randhurst, the kind of Main Street style lifestyle center that is currently being developed. Major construction is wrapping up, and the stores are slowly beginning to open. The retail environment there, it's Mount Prospect's biggest taxpayer. It's very important, to ensure that Mount Prospect can provide services to its residents. So something had to be done, and the interesting part about Randhurst is that it kind of serves as a template for what are we going to do with these dead malls around the country. There's more and more of them every year, so people are kind of watching this happen at Randhurst. Again, in a lot of ways it harkens back to kind of the automobile shopping centers that were popular in the 1950s of you drive up to the store you want to go to and you get in and get out. These lifestyle centers are kind of the new template, so it'll just be kind of interesting to see what happens because it's so new that we don't know yet, so time will tell.